say good afternoon. Oh, it is good afternoon. I almost wanted to say good morning. It is Thursday, the 15th of June. I am continuing our quest, or my quest at least, to work through all of these questions that I got during a 3-session workshop working with athletes at a high school, but most of the questions are in Afrikaans. There's a few that's in English from English students, so I'll alternate the videos. I don't do a lot of videos in Afrikaans, so today's one is in English. And the question I got, the second one, I'm picking, well, I'm just working from the top of the pile. No, you can't see that. Goed, die vraag is, ek moet 'n wiskunde taak doen saam met iemand van wie ek nie so baie hou nie. So I love this question because any team sports athlete is going to work in a team with individuals, and some individuals that probably don't like. And it's that old thing about you don't have to love people, but you can at least like them or like things about them. And that's where the huge difference lies. Many times we confuse the things that people do, the behavior in other words, with the actual person. We don't like the person because we don't like certain behaviors that they display or that they exhibit. So the only thing, well, not the only thing, there's a ton of things that you can do, but I want to really keep these videos short and only share maybe one or two things that will answer the question partially. Again, like I mentioned in yesterday's video, it's going to be a process. So everything collectively together will eventually give you the results that you want. And you can continue to learn, right? There's continuously some new tools and protocols and things that come out that you can use to make yourself a better athlete. Okay, so I love this question, like I said. I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. So you cannot change other people. That's one of the most important fundamentals I think most of us know. And most, when I speak with students and talk with students, they know that. Most of them know this. They cannot change the other person. How the other person got to their perception of the world is obviously the process is the same for everybody. And because we live in different environments, we all have our own perception of what our reality is. And that's why, for example, and I'll link a video somewhere. I'll link a video. I did a athlete performance workshop on this specific topic, and I'll link a video to that. But that is, for example, why let's say you have 2 team members training with a coach, and the coach are exactly the same, treat everybody exactly the same, but the one person might feel, oh, the coach is screaming on me, and the person might feel, I like this coach's discipline. I like the fact that the coach is straightforward, say it as it is, whereas another person don't like it. So every person builds up their own reality based on all of their experiences, and they create a framework for their life and perception of what their life is like. So the other person is going to have a completely different perception of their life and what their reality is like and things that's going on in their world. You can't change that. You can't get into their mind, take their mind out, like a computer, wipe out the hard disk, program it the way you want, put it back in. Same goes for your parents, same goes for your coaches and teachers. You can't do that, obviously. So the only thing you can work on is yourself. There are things that you can actually do, and many of the responses towards the questions that I share in these videos will benefit you. Like I said yesterday, many of these responses is all about the way you communicate and how you find things out about the other person or find out missing information when a person makes a statement. So it's all about being able to communicate without without any conflict that can arise between two individuals. So so that there's that part. I'm not going to speak about that today. I am going to speak about you as the individual that don't like the person or don't like the teammate. So same thing applies when I don't like somebody. I have my perception of what I think things should look like, and that's, for example, why I don't like a person. I have my perception based on my experiences that a person always needs to be friendly, always greet you, stuff like that. And even an individual doesn't do that. Immediately I create this generalization, put the person in a bucket and say they are unfriendly, I don't like them, or whatever the case might be, whatever their behavior is. Now, when you have a thought that comes up in your mind, the moment you attach meaning to that thought, I spoke about it yesterday as well, there's a whole cascade of chemical reactions that's going to start in your brain. And that is going to create the emotion. And the moment it starts to create the emotion and all of those chemicals are working together, it's going to immediately activate processes in your body that's going to create a specific sense or a specific feeling. So it all starts really with the thought you have, and then it creates the emotions and then the feelings. So when you say, I don't like somebody, and I ask you, if you think about that person, where do you feel it in your body? Because that's literally where you feel that sense of, I don't like that person. And it can be in your head because you're thinking it, but it's going to be different for every person. It can be in your heart. You can feel it in the pit of your stomach. But that means that the whole process is sort of from thought, created the emotions, and then there's that feeling. In order to change that, because most of us base our perception of an individual, whether we like them or not, on the feeling we have. So in order to change the feeling, and of course there are instances where you would not want to be associated with certain types of people because they can drag you down, they can have a negative impact. I'm not talking about those types of individuals. So in order to change how you feel about the person, you don't have to love the person, but in order to take that feeling you have about the person away, you're going to have to change the meaning that you attach to the initial thought that comes up in your mind. So let's take this one as an example. This person has to do, like I said, an assignment with an individual. So the moment they were paired up, and again, this is just an example of how thoughts can develop, triggering emotions and feelings. But the moment they were paired up, this individual that asked the question had a thought, and that thought immediately triggered that whole reaction. And one of the best questions you can ask, of course, first you want to identify what that thought is. It's going to take a little bit of, I almost want to say investigating yourself, investigating your mind, which is difficult for some people. But eventually it will get so easy. The moment the thought comes up, you can immediately stop it there. And you know, it's so cool because when the Bible talks about Proverbs 23, verse 7, as man thinketh, so is he, and also say that your mind should be renewed, people think it's this mystical process. And yes, through the process of prayer and meditation, but all of those things changes things in you, and it helps you also and supports the change of thoughts in your mind. But you have to work at it. You have to actually do something. You have to read the Bible and educate yourself about what God says about thoughts and feelings and all of that stuff. So and one of the most basic questions you can ask. So let's say, for example, I want to give you an example. The teacher paired me up, or a coach paired me up with somebody else, I need to do an activity, or I need to train with a person, or I need to do an assignment with a person. And the first thought came to my mind, again, not again with that person. Why do I always have to get that person? So now I recognize, okay, I have this thought about the person. Forget now first about the emotions and the feelings. I have this thought about the person. Now I want to know, ask myself, what does this actually, what else could this mean? What else could the fact that I get this sinking feeling working with this person mean? And it could be, you had a sibling in the house that was the same way and always lazy and never wanted to contribute. You had a parent or a mother that never wanted to contribute, and you don't have to spend hours in diving into the cause of, okay, what, because that's what a lot of people get stuck with is, I actually get clients and students that when they come to me with a problem, they would like say, oh, and I would ask them, why are you here? And they would say, oh, I constantly come late for practice and I'm not motivated to train. And and they know I have a bad attitude towards the coach. And then they would even go on and tell me, that's bad, right? There must be something wrong with me. And then they would try to start to figure it out in their mind. And then they would say things like, I was thinking, why am I like this? What has gone wrong in my, then they would say, in my younger years or childhood for me to be like that? And people spend so much time to try and analyze the reason why they have the problem that they have. They don't get to the solution or the tool or the protocol and implementing that. You can't change. It's good sometimes from an awareness perspective to know, oh, this is where this comes from, but that's about it. There's nothing you can do about the stuff that has happened, other than just being aware that that might have been something that triggered the way you feel when people speak about a certain person, or the way you feel when you have to work one-on-one with another person, or that's all you're going to get, all insight really you're going to get out of that information. Put that to rest and focus on the fact that you can identify the feeling or the way you think about the scenario. But what you really want to get to is, what else could it mean? It could mean that I really want to give my best and I don't want somebody to hold me back, right? So that's now on me. That's irrelevant of the person. So that is what that thought could mean. So I want you to think about what it is that you want and what else, this feeling that you have about the other person, this feeling that you have, what else could it mean? So it could mean that there's a lot of pressure on my scholarship, because if I do well, I can get a bursary at the varsity and I can play sports for the varsity. It could mean that, but obviously it's going to be different for every single person. What else could it mean? It could mean that my parents told me if I do well this year, they will gift me with a holiday and we'll take the whole family overseas or to Mauritius. Who knows, whatever. There is always a good intention behind any feeling you have, any thought you have, and any behavior you have. Always. The moment you did that behavior for the first time, there was some sort of positive intention that at that point in time you were hoping to get out of it, and it might have been the best decision that you thought was the best thing to do at that point in time. You didn't have any other skills or knowledge to take any other decision. So at the point in time, always know there's a good intention behind every feeling, thought, or behavior that you have. And that's really what you want to get to, is the fact that you feel this animosity towards another person, or the fact that you feel this way. What else could it mean? And that is what I want you to focus on. Again, I say, like I said yesterday, let's say, for example, you identify a similar thought today and you do a little exercise. It's going to take you a little bit longer. Eventually, you might want to write things down for the first few rounds. And eventually, later on, the moment the thought is going to come up, you're going to be immediately aware to sort of take that thought captive. And that's really what it means to take a thought captive. Is you can and you have the abilities to stop the whole process of attaching a specific meaning that can be negative, which will eventually cause a specific emotion and a feeling in your body, because that's the part that we want to change. Yeah, I'm going to leave you with that tip. Practice it. It's going to take time. It's not something that you can only do once. It's going to take time. Practice it. Let me know in the comments if you are practicing it, and if you need help with navigating your way through that particular tip or process. Let me know, and I'll be happy to guide you further through that. Yeah, that's the sweet and short tip that you can share with your friends as well. Must have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.